You ever run out of gas because you have an erratic gas gauge and it always reads a quarter tank? Well, I feel your pain. This is what we do. We travel with a gas can until you fix it. Let's think about what it can be. Can it be the gauge, cluster, or is it in the gas tank? Come on. Is it in the fuel pump? Is it the sending unit? Let's break it down and solve this mystery, because I'm tired of this. So that's the problem, right? The gas gauge is erratic or it's frozen at one spot. No matter what, you put gas in, and you know you put gas in, and let me guess, you're doing the old tripmometer. That's how you're guessing your range, right? Of when you can go to empty or push the limit. So you don't want to do that anymore. You want to fix it. Let's fix it and not cause that anxiety any longer. This is what we call a fuel gauge sending unit. It's attached to the fuel pump module, which is in the gas tank. GM had a problem at one point. They had a huge TSB, which is a technical service bulletin. They had a wiring issue, and these wires would actually get real hot and break. So they were taking the modules out and putting just the senders on. Well, I'm going to say if you're going to do that, just get the whole module pump with this on it and do it once. So now here we are under the vehicle, right? And there is the fuel tank. Gas tank, fuel tank, one and the same. This one is like a 30-gallon. It's located in the long version of it on the driver's side. Some of us square, and they sit in the back of the truck. Well, this one's right here. And this is the fuel pump module, and this sits submerged inside that gas tank. Openings on the top, so you have to support it, drop it down, and take this out. And here is the actual fuel level sensor attached to that module. And that's how it works, just like that. Well, that piece comes off, and you can replace just this piece, or you can do the module, whichever you prefer. All right, so here's a fun way to check that gauge to see if the problem is in the gas tank, in the sending unit, or in the cluster, the instrument panel. So what I want you to do is either sit in the car or stand outside and look through the window, but turn the key in the on position. And you and a buddy grab your car. Now the gas gauge should be around a half a tank. That's the best place, or quarter of a tank. Grab it and just shake it back and forth, right? Now watch that gauge while you're shaking the vehicle. If the gauge needle moves, fluctuates, and maybe even if it's low enough, the gas light comes on and off like you're low on gas, then the problem will lie right in that gas tank. It's in the module, in that sending unit. Now if nothing moves at all, more than likely it's going to be in that cluster, that instrument cluster. So that'll help you diagnose that and solve the problem. When you have your fuel pump out, if you're replacing it, take a look inside. Let's see what kind of condition your gas tank's in. If you still have metal gas tanks, if it's an older vehicle, you want to make sure it's not rusting from the inside out. Check whatever fuel you have in there and see if there's actual little chunks of rust floating in there. That's going to end up clogging up the new pump, and that's not really what you want, right? Then you're going to damage that pump, and you're going to have to do it again. So always look in, check out the condition, and go from there. So I got my little meter out, and I'm going to just back probe these two wires because I want to show you how you can test it. If you're still questioning, if you do pull your gas module out, fuel pump module out, and you take that sending unit, you can actually test it with an ohm meter. Just put it on ohms, resistance, and then you'll see those little pinnacles take a reading. They make the meter go up and down. The lowest number will be for empty, and the highest number would be for full. So you can actually see what happens is the gas kind of corrodes those after a while, or they get worn down, especially if it always stays in the same place. Say you're someone that's pretty good at only getting gas at half a tank all the time, or don't fill it. You're going to wear out those little lines. They're really fine print. But if you watch that gauge, that's an empty tank, and as I raise the gauge up, the number goes up. And that's going to be a full tank. So what you're looking for is a steady, consistent, and it's going to be hard to do because it's such a fine little line, but you want to see a change in that if you're testing your item. You also want to look for wires. You want to look up for burnt wires right in here. It's pretty notorious for them to just get really hot, and that white plastic, usually always white plastic or a yellowish plastic, gets a burnt mark on it. You'll see it. So think of how thin that wire is and the resistance that's going through that, and it's just cooking out the wire. So you can also get these separate at 1aauto.com or the whole fuel pump module. It's up to you, whichever way you want to change it. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope it helped you out, gave you a little clues on how to do quick diagnosing without any expensive tools. Don't forget, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell because then it turns on all your notifications and you won't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching.